Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
An analytics company, vidIQ, has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family.
There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Tuesday, June 17th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we'll tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present Pride Fest in August, and we declare that love is in the air in Pride Fort Lauderdale on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Our magazine, events, television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support our diverse family. Let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Sydney Brown. Sydney was an early organizer of the Miami AIDS Walk and the White Party for Care resource. She is the programs director for the Lambda Living program at Jewish Community Services, and she also served as the founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride. Cindy, it's always an honor to sit next to you at this table. 30 Days of Pride celebrates Les Open the Mic to light up Pride Night on June 27th. Tell me what's happening out.
Well, South Florida's queer community will gather for a night of poetry, music, and electric vibes at Les Open the Mic Pride Edition, happening Friday, June 27th from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. at Palmyra Lounge, a Middle Eastern restaurant and hookah bar. The event is curated by Les Moon, known for creating soulful, affirming spaces centering queer women. This bi-monthly open mic night will spotlight local queer poets, singers, and musicians, offering a stage for raw expression and connection. Guests will mingle from 9 to 10 p.m., enjoy an unmissable opening act at 10 p.m., and dive into open mic performances until 11:15. Headliner Anita Will take the stage from 11 p.m. to midnight, followed by a full-on dance party until 3 a.m. Admission is only $15, and everyone is welcome to this vibrant, inclusive celebration of Pride. More details are on eventbrite.com. That sounds like such a fun event. Yeah. Open mic featuring local artists, giving them an opportunity to showcase to the local community. The only thing is I'm usually in bed at like 10 o'clock. So, I would have to make a special
special appearance.
energy drink or something to be able to stay up.
The best thing about Les Moon, I remember she was throwing events at the Hamburger Mary's before it was the Well. And she always does such a great job at spotlighting unknown artists, people maybe who aren't given the opportunity to perform on the drive. And it really is something for everyone, from poetry to speaking monologues and song and original remixes performances and DJing live, but it does last quite late. It goes till 3 a.m. However, the 8 to 10 portion of the party is just as fun as the 12 to 3, you know.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, but that's awesome. And Palmyra Lounge on Wilton Drive is
Yes,
a cool place
delicious,
to do
by the
it.
way, as
Yeah.
well.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at Les Open the Mic on June 27th. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Gabe Salazar. Gabe is a dynamic conductor, tenor, and music educator, currently serving as the artistic director of the Gay Man's Chorus of South Florida. Gabe also serves as director of music at Sunshine Cathedral in Fort Lauderdale and was recently appointed to the board of directors of Gala Choruses, the premier association supporting LGBTQ+ choral organizations across North America. Gabe, it's great to see you at this table, my love. 30 Days of Pride celebrates the Gay Man's Chorus of South Florida Pride Month with Dazzling Divas, honey, on June 21st. Tell me what's happening out.
The Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida will dazzle audiences with their celebratory Pride concert, Dazzling Divas, on Saturday, June 21st at 8 p.m. at the Parker in Fort Lauderdale. This high-energy show will pay tribute to musical icons like Beyonce, Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, Aretha Franklin, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, Whitney Houston, Chappell Roan, and many, many more. The concert will honor the legendary women who have shaped pop and soul while celebrating the vibrant spirit of the LGBTQ community. Tickets start at only $45 and are available through Ticketmaster or in person at the Broward Center's AutoNation box office. Plus, you can also enter a raffle for a once-in-a-lifetime $30,000 trip to Machu Picchu and Peru, sponsored by the Happening Out Travel Club. Don't miss this opportunity to win a dream trip of a lifetime while supporting GMCSF. For more details, visit gmcsf.org. Yeah.
Oh my God, that
excited.
lineup that you have in
gonna
that.
be a good one.
So
We're
can
ready.
you share a little BTS of how the concert's going at the
What's
table?
BTS?
Behind the scenes.
Oh,
behind the
I
scenes.
learned something new.
Because
Yeah.
you're underway in rehearsal now.
Yeah,
I'm
we had our
assuming,
first
right?
orchestra
Okay.
rehearsal last night, and the chorus comes tonight, and then we move to the Parker Thursday and Friday. And
Awesome.
yeah, it should be a really fun show. We have our dancers. We have, I think there's a contest to dress up as your favorite diva.
Oh,
it's going to be a really high energy
It sounds
show.
really
And,
fun and dynamic, and of course,
yeah.
the singing is always
Yeah.
amazing.
The Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida always bring a certain level of production to the
Yes,
table
of
with
course.
their concerts.
course.
It's always an experience, and now that they're teaming up with the Happening Out Travel Club, it's just
Yeah.
like a whole nother
Yeah.
level up.
Speaking of the travel club, how much are the raffle tickets?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you'll have to go online to find out how
Yes,
much
just go
the
to the
raffle tickets
website.
are.
They keep me in my lane of just the music.
Oh,
So
And does the chorus get all the proceeds from the raffle?
yes, I believe.
Awesome.
And I would like to add, just because this is a platform that we should be using to share, you won't just find men in the chorus at the Gay Men's Chorus in South Florida as well. They welcome any and all beautiful human beings to take part in the
Absolutely.
chorus. So keep a lookout for that. And Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Dazzling Divas on Saturday, June 21st. And that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Yavan Robbacher. Yavan is a 35-year activist, which makes no sense because she's only 37, in South Florida, and was the founding VP of Our Pride Center. She currently volunteers and supports the Women's Fund at Stonewall Museum and Library and other local groups. Yavan, first of all, it's great to see you. 30 Days of Pride has the Dolphin Democrats hosting the 43rd Gala on June 28th. Tell me what's happening out.
Yeah, awesome. The Dolphin Democrats will host their 43rd annual awards gala and silent auction on Saturday, June 28th at the Westin, Fort Lauderdale. The event will begin during Pride Month and mark the 56th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, honoring the LGBTQ pioneers who sparked a movement. Organized by the Dolphin Board of Directors, the gala will bring together activists, allies, and community leaders for an evening of reflection, resistance, and resolve. Guests will enjoy a silent auction, a celebration of achievements, and a reaffirmation of shared values. This year's gathering will highlight urgent issues facing Florida's queer community, from censorship to attacks on reproductive rights. Tickets and sponsorship opportunities are available now at dolphindems.org. The Dolphin Democrats, who are also on Facebook, by the way, invite all to stand united and prepare for the critical 2026 election year. And I just heard yesterday the announcement that they're also going to honor Don Darminio, who's a Wilton Manors Commission member at this time and has done so much for our community in the last
And
few
it's probably
years.
a friend of everyone sitting at this table.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I just got an old picture of him in my text the other day when he had a different hairdo. I don't know why I decided to send it, but it was awesome. The Dolphin Democrats are doing amazing things and really stepping up with the environment we have. They've been having state and even national political figures come in and talk at the monthly meetings lately and let us know what in the heck is really going on. And they're just out there finding voters that are not registered yet. You name it, they're doing it to make sure that we get protected.
Yeah, we need every LGBT person that is eligible to vote should have a voter's registration card and vote.
I've always been on the Democratic side voting, you know, I was going to say obviously, but it's not that obvious in this time anymore with us.
You never know.
And I stupidly, for lack of a better term, you know, kind of, or maybe leaning into the privilege of not having to worry about it. And now I'm worried about it for my own health. I've never really attended anything having to do with the Dolphin Democrats. And now I cannot agree more that it's time for people like myself and those who maybe have been able to lean into that privilege of not worrying simply because the color of your skin. It's time that we really all band together and get to these monthly meetings. There is strength in numbers. And I don't think that me personally, Eric Restivo, took it seriously until like
it or not,
we're really in it. You know, and it's not easy to admit that and say on this platform, but that's where we are, and that's just.
And we have to be visible, and we have to be in groups, and this is a great way to do it. My wife decided a couple of months ago, I have to do more. You know, we were doing phone calls and volunteer work, but she went in and decided to take the secretary position at the Dolphin Democrats, and that's why we were sweating so much on Saturday, because we were at their table. We were at their booth, and we were, of course, registering voters, but also they had the new petitions for the two referendums that did not go through last election. They're doing new petitions on both the recreational marijuana and reproductive rights and even Medicaid expansion. So we were doing all that as well when we were there at the Pride Fest. Hope you saw us.
it was interesting. I had someone say something one day that said, you'd be surprised how many LGBTQ individuals are not registered. And to start asking, and when you do, I'm shocked. So I'm curious, how many were registered at Pride?
But now there's no excuse.
People just don't think about it or care, you know, and it's that was never my case, but I know people like that. It's sad, but more than ever, we need to do more.
Absolutely.
Maybe they're having a wake-up call now.
I hope so.
It's easy. It's easy to be a qualified person who registers voters and just have some forms around. It's easy.
Find out more information on the Dolphin Democrats Facebook page or their website. You can simply just type in the Dolphin Democrats to literally any search engine online. You'll find everything out. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Dolphin Democrats 43rd Gala on June 28th. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back anchor Vaughn Biggs. He is a community outreach coordinator at Holy Cross Health, a vice chair of the Ryan White Part A Planning Council, and a founding board member of Trans Ed. Vaughn, I love seeing you every chance I get. 30 Days of Pride celebrates loud laughs, proud hearts, IMPROUD show set for June 21st. Tell me what's happening out.
That's right, Eric. This Saturday, June 21st at 9 p.m., Miami will host IMPROUD, a high-energy improv comedy show celebrating queer joy and allyship, taking place at Just the Funny Theater on the second floor at 3119 Coral Way. The unscripted, unfiltered event will feature LGBTQ performers and their allies delivering laughter straight from the heart. Audiences can expect a night full of spontaneous sketches, bold humor, and powerful moments of community connection. All proceeds will benefit Save LGBTQ, a South Florida nonprofit advocating for queer rights, making the event not just entertaining, but impactful. General admission tickets are priced at $28.52 and can be purchased through eventbrite.com. You know, if anything unscripted and unfiltered, I'm there.
And this is in Miami, so it's fantastic. I just might have to get my tickets.
Is there audience
Sounds
participation?
Oh, hopefully.
Improv usually has artist participation.
The rule of improv is yes and. You don't say no. You just yes
Yes
and the
and.
next person.
Right.
So I love anything that is not your typical night out is something that I would look forward to. So I would make my way down to Miami for this.
Cool.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at IMPROUD on June 21st. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Eric Restivo. Eric is a well-known DJ, cabaret singer, and host here in South Florida. Over the last 15 years, he has had DJ residencies in New York City, P-Town, and LA, and has performed off-Broadway and nationally. Eric can now be seen and heard hosting and singing weekly all over Wilton Drive. Eric, Chic and Unique Ball comes to Hollywood in November. Ticket sales start June 21st. Tell me, what's happening out?
You know, I feel like this is the perfect event for me to talk about since I am so chic and unique. Get ready to dazzle. At the Gay Men's Chorus South Florida Chic and Unique Ball, Step Into Burlesque, honey, will take place on Saturday, November 1st, 2025 at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood. Promising an unforgettable night of glamour and allure. Presented by Impact Encounters, this lavish evening will feature both VIP and general admission experiences. VIP ticket holders at $500 will begin at 5 p.m. with a private reception, gourmet bites, and live entertainment by Matt Albert and Gabe Salazar. VIPs will enjoy exclusive raffle entries, red carpet access, and premiere seating for the 8 p.m. dinner show. And general admission guests with $300 tickets will join at 6 p.m. for the red carpet and silent auction before the evening's headline show and dinner. The event will feature a live auction hosted by Whitney Dunton, a premium open bar, poolside festivities, and a dazzling light show. Tickets go on sale this Saturday, June 21st. For more details, visit thechicanduniqueball.com. Listen, you had me at Chic and Chic, not even Chic and just Chic End, and I was there.
It's going to be a really great event. It's the first time we're having it at the Hard Rock.
At the Hard Rock, so that's just even more kicked up, right? It's just is it in the same space that they had the drag brunch?
I believe
the world
so,
record
yes.
that which they beat.
That
I
was
heard,
an
right?
awesome brunch.
They beat it, by
That
the
was
way.
so much
right?
fun.
Yeah, they beat it. But anyway,
Yeah.
yes. So it's in that space. What else can we look forward to other than what we spoke about for the Chic and Unique Ball?
We have lots of surprises. We're very lucky that we have one of our board directors works at the Hard Rock, so he pulls out
you
the
get the
stops
hookup.
for us.
Awesome.
And he is amazing. Shout out to Eric and Susan. And he just has great ideas, and I don't even know all of it yet. We're in the process of
You're still in the
planning it all,
process of planning, right?
and it's going to be really, really fun.
Wow.
It's our biggest fundraiser of the year, so we like to
Sounds
get
awesome.
everybody together and just
Am I
Awesome.
chic
Big
and
old
unique
party.
enough?
Absolutely, come on.
Absolutely.
We'll get you in a corset, honey. We'll get
Put
you
you in
ready.
one of those.
Oh, it'll be over. When I was young, that was it, right? You took a disco nap and then you went over to where your boyfriends
exactly.
were roommates at their apartment, and they did you for the nightclubs, and then you went out.
There you go.
what's gonna
You were set to go.
Yeah.
And we always have to give a shout out to the Hard Rock anytime we can, because they did do a little something for us just this year. They changed their colors outside for Trans Day of Remembrance to the trans color, trans
They are
flag color.
amazing.
That's awesome.
So any chance we can shout them out.
That's one corporation that hasn't
They've actually
shrunk
stepped up
away.
and
Yeah.
supported more.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Chic and Unique Ball on November 1st. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Eric Restivo, and let's queer up breaking news. Reporting from the Israel-Iran war, the Tel Aviv LGBTQ community say they have been abandoned by American LGBTQ. We believe Queer News Tonight anchor Al Ferguson is the only LGBTQ reporter in Tel Aviv. He has been reporting live. Early Monday morning, he personally witnessed a ballistic missile attack on central Tel Aviv, just blocks from his hotel. At first daylight, he went to the square where buildings and countless businesses and windows were destroyed or severely damaged. That same morning, he visited the LGBTQ Center, just a 10-minute walk from the attack location, to tour the first and only city-run LGBTQ center in the world. Program director Noam Gross toured Ferguson through the many floors that are the heart of the Tel Aviv LGBTQ community. Health and mental care, social gathering points, a 400-seat live production theater, and unfortunately a bomb shelter are part of the center. Gross, a member of the LGBTQ community, expressed his pride in the city of Tel Aviv's relationship with the gay community and the pride of diversity of men, women, and trans members of the LGBTQ community. The center produces Tel Aviv Pride that was canceled just hours after the attack on the Iranian nuclear sites early Friday morning. Al was in Tel Aviv to cover the Pride events. A trans staff member of the center is the producer of Wigstock, a massive Tel Aviv event that celebrates drag queens and trans artists, and last Wednesday's event drew more than 2,000 participants. While Gross expressed pride in what they have accomplished, he also expressed his sadness on how other LGBTQ communities across the world have treated LGBTQ Israelis. He said, quote, "We had so many friends in Berlin, New York, Miami, and across the world, but that seems to be gone now. There is politics and there is the LGBTQ community. We are all brothers and sisters, and we thought you were with us. We are deeply sad to realize that may not have been true," end quote. So sorry, I have goosebumps. One thing was clear about the visit with Gross and the LGBTQ Center. It is very much like the Pride Center of Equality Park in Wilton Manors. It serves the community. But unlike South Florida, Israel is being attacked with ballistic missiles every day. Just hours before this interview, a 32-foot missile hit just blocks away. The LGBTQ Center did not close. Through all of this, Al Ferguson said, quote, "Regardless of the politics of Israel, we can admire their desire to survive. What Israel faces is not unlike the history of LGBTQ+. Historically, a desire to harm and even destroy your existence. So, our roots at the Stonewall riots are so very similar to what I have seen here in Tel Aviv. Their desire to survive, and there is no question, while they are hurt on how the world treats them, they too will survive," end quote.
I think that people for the past year and a half, especially queer people in America, have kind of one-dimensional, two-dimensional view of what's going on here and what we're going through. You know, I, as a person, am very critical of what's happening in Gaza and around the region. I don't think that we're saints in everything that we're doing. I do think that it doesn't really matter what I have to say, but I think that what we found as queer people in Israel so hurtful is that, you know, our friends and colleagues in New York and Berlin and across the world, people that we used to work with, we used to call friends, people that we really felt are brothers and sisters overseas. Just, you know, after October 7th happened, there was like maybe a grace of like a week before they completely turned their back against us. And in this situation, no one can really hear that for the past 2.5 years or so, not all, but many LGBTQ communities are fighting for the same values that we share with queer people across the world, which is freedom and democracy and freedom of speech, and our demand for a peaceful, human-loving government. And you know, it just seemed that in an instant, all of it doesn't matter. And I want to say to people around the world, we've been saying for years already, especially now, that we are not our government. We're people trying to live our life freely, aspiring for a democratic country that is equal to all civilians, that aspire to peace with their neighbors. And we are willing and open for dialogue. And, just a few days ago, when it was still relatively peaceful, we had a delegation of people organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, people coming from all across the world, just to hear us out. And it was so refreshing and so new to have people actually trying to listen to your story, not in order to make them, on our side, but just to talk. And I think empathy it's not much worth when it's limited, or for certain people, if you look like this and you speak that, so you deserve empathy, and if not, so you're a colonizer and you should be wiped off the map. We might agree, we might disagree, but eventually, whether people like it or not, Israel is and will be a part of the Western world. Our inventions and the things that people do here in all industries, high tech, you will use these products in the end of the day, and you will keep on being out there. And we really just want to reopen our connections with people, because we feel that we've lost so many friends and allies overseas while dealing with extreme, kind of hateful at times government over here, and we're in between, feeling kind of lonely.
Caught.
What?
You're caught.
We're caught in between, yeah. And we're caught in between, and we just want to take an active part, not only in our society, but in the global conversation when it comes to what is being LGBT, what is being queer. And people might be surprised about what Israel gives for Palestinian LGBTQ refugees that have to escape their house and they come here to Tel Aviv. And we have here a worker that speaks Arabic and offers their services also for people from Palestinian territories, the Palestinian Authority, because this is the soul of this place, and no government will change this.
It may not surprise you that the LGBTQ community in South Florida and all over America is going through somewhat different, but a similar situation with our government and marginalization of LGBT in America. So we have much in common, much more in common than I think we all realize. I'm curious, one last question.
Yeah, sure.
For LGBT, for you as one of the leaders of this center, LGBT center in Tel Aviv, are you hopeful for better days? Do you think about it's going to be better?
The anthem of the State of Israel is called the Tikva, which is translated to the hope. We've been through too much stuff as a country and as a people to give up hope. Sometimes it seems unrealistic, and sometimes it seems, that everything is lost. You can see it to this day with glasses shattered on the streets like it's Kristallnacht. But this is home, and our ancestors have been through too much for us to give up this quickly. So we hold tight and hope for the better.
Hope for the better. It's pronounced Noam?
Noam.
Noam.
Noam. It's like Noah from the Ark with an M in the end.
Okay.
Noam.
Noam Gross from the LGBT Center, the only LGBT city municipality center in the world. You should be very proud of that.
First one?
The first one.
The first
We'll
one,
say
but...
first, and then there'll be asterisks of other
No
people, but you should be very proud.
This is the first one.
Thank you very much for talking to the LGBTQ community.
Thank you, Al.
Tough to watch program director Noam Gross recite those words to ours, Al Ferguson's. I want to open the table up a little bit, but I do want to say something that's going to make a few people uncomfortable, and it's my job to do that. As Israel is facing these attacks and feeling abandoned by the LGBTQ community, this is not new. Okay, the anti-Semitism, racism, hate, it all lives within the LGBTQ community. And it's horrible that it comes from our own family, but it has been alive and well for a while now. So do better, but I did have to just get that out there. I'd like to open the table now. So,
well, you know, I work for Jewish Community Services, a Jewish organization, and I have had the opportunity to visit Israel on 2 occasions during Pride. And they have a vibrant LGBT community in Israel. It saddens me to hear that they are not feeling the support from U.S. counterparts. I can tell them that on behalf of JCS and A Wider Bridge, who that's an organization I'm on the board of. That's an LGBT organization bridging Israel with the United States. You know, we are with you. I've had the opportunity to visit many of the organizations in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and even some further out in the more rural areas. And the community is vibrant. With their new administration and Netanyahu, the LGBT community is facing some of the same things that our LGBT community is facing. And it's sad. And when there are missiles flying and bombs exploding and people dying, I don't care where in the world you are, it's horrific. Any loss of life.
That's right.
Is, you know, it's horrible. And for people, regardless, whether it's in Israel or whether it's in Gaza or whether it's in Iran, you know, innocent people are, you know, getting killed and severely injured. And that is something that I am very sad for all of them. That being said, Israel has a right to defend itself, and I know there are a lot of people out there who I'm probably going to get some Facebook messages. You know,
it's the nature of this beast at this point right now.
Yeah. I mean, even the A Wider Bridge, who I mentioned earlier, we started a whole program called Queers Against Anti-Semitism, because the level of anti-Semitism in the LGBT community is crazy high.
It runs wild.
And, you know, the LGBT Center in Israel is government supported. If you were to go into Iran or you were to go into Gaza, they would no sooner chop your head off if they found out that you were a member of the community. So as LGBT people, we can mourn the loss of life, of all life, regardless of where they are. But we need to be supportive of our LGBT counterparts in Israel and anywhere else. And yeah, I think it's a real shame that they canceled Tel Aviv Pride. It was probably the biggest Pride I personally have ever attended. Wow. And it was amazing. But obviously, you can't have a pride parade in the middle of a war.
No, cancellation was heartbreaking.
You know, I'm curious as to, because I mean, it's disheartening to hear this, obviously, but, you know, when they say the LGBT community of like Miami and New York has turned their back on them, I'm like, what have they done to turn their back? Was it they didn't provide? I mean, it goes
people say silence is
right.
just as big of a enemy as, you know, when you don't speak up, you're on the opposite side of what's right. So
right.
You know, it could be something like that. That's what I would assume,
right.
you know, at first glance. and or it could be something more physical. It could be physical support.
Right.
You know, I'm not.
I would venture a guess that obviously Jewish Community Services, we absolutely put out a statement.
Right.
But LGBT organizations in the States probably, well, they're not.
Yeah. Not
And
probably,
they're
right.
probably not making statements intentionally because of the fact that the LGBT community is so divided, and organizations are not, you know, they're not willing to offend some of their
That's right.
their constituencies. So I mean that, in my opinion, that I think is what they're referring to.
Hopefully, like, I know many of us, like, I've had an awakening where I feel like I need to speak out more, and who cares if I offend anybody? And Eric mentioned that too. So hopefully,
If you've got a
now, more than
platform,
ever,
use it.
we will all
share,
Exactly.
share,
Right.
share. If it gives you the ick factor, share it even more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
This is not going to be a story that's ending today or tomorrow. So we'll keep you updated. That's a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Eric Restivo, and let's queer up politics. Trump Jr. targets trans community in wild comments on Minnesota murder case. Donald Trump Jr. is under fire for blaming the transgender community in the aftermath of a brutal double murder without any evidence. Speaking on a right-wing podcast, Trump Jr. offered a false inflammatory claim.
Like the radical transgender movement is per capita the most violent, domestic terror threat, if not in America, probably the entire world per capita, because you have all these shooters and murderers or attempted murderers, in such a tiny population of a country, and yet they can't. They're beyond reproach, Benny. If this was any other group, you see it.
His comment came while discussing Vance Bolter, the suspect accused of murdering Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband over the weekend. Authorities have not released Bolter's motive, and there's no evidence linking his alleged crime to either LGBTQ issues or immigration policy. Yet, Trump Jr. insisted that Bolter was left-wing despite mounting evidence that the accused had strong support for former President Donald Trump and even kept a hit list of liberal figures. Local reports show Bolter had ties to anti-LGBTQ+ religious groups and once gave a homophobic sermon in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Right-wing figures like Trump Jr., Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Elon Musk, the who's who, honey, have used the tragedy to falsely link mass shootings to the trans community, even though data shows most U.S. mass shooters are cisgender men. Critics say it's a deflection tactic meant to vilify queer people and avoid addressing gun reform. And
Wow.
This critic at this table agrees. Okay. I don't have to say this out loud. We know this. They have been trying to train us in the art of deflection and look over there and let me really do this while you're thinking that I'm actually doing this. So this is not breaking news. It's just showing this administration and their low IQs.
Just
even
vile.
more.
It's just vile.
It's ridiculous too. I mean, show me one
Piece
time,
of it. Yeah,
one time that a transgender community member shot up a room or planted a domestic
Or put a mask
terrorist.
on and armor and went and grabbed people off the street that
Never
went around.
happened.
Right.
Never happened.
Or anything like that. No. There might be a few thinking about using the heels off of their stilettos to do something right now.
Yeah.
I would be.
Oh, let's not give him any more time.
No.
That is
Okay.
a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up entertainment. Modern Family's Lily comes out with the perfect scene. Aubrey Anderson Emmons, best known as Lily from Modern Family, just came out as bisexual and did it in the most iconic way possible. In a playful Instagram video celebrating Pride Month, the 18-year-old lip-synced a classic scene from Modern Family where her character hilariously confuses nationality and sexuality. Gloria tells Lily, "You are Vietnamese," and Lily replies, "No, I'm not. I'm gay. I'm gay." Mitchell then says, "Honey, no, you're not gay. You are just confused." Well, turns out Lily wasn't confused after all. Aubrey added her own message, quote, "People keep joking so much about me being gay when I literally am. I'm bi," end quote. She captioned the video, "Happy Pride Month to all, and to all a good night." The post, viewed over 1.5 million times, lit up with love and support. Aubrey joined the Emmy-winning show in 2011 as the adopted daughter of beloved gay couple Mitch and Cam, played by Jesse Tyler Ferguson and Eric Stonestreet. Their characters became a beacon of queer representation on primetime TV. Now, Lily's real-life counterpart is proudly carrying that legacy forward. This is so wonderful. I mean, the show, first of all,
Incredible.
is awesome. It really shows us as how we are.
Yeah.
Not some stereotype, although
Yeah.
there's maybe a little bit of stereotype. But, you know,
The fact
I
that
mean,
she's 18 now.
It's
I know,
nuanced.
so old.
Nuanced stereotype.
Right,
Nuanced
right,
Camp
right.
here and there, not a lot, but
Listen,
a little.
I miss this show so much. I really
Yeah.
do. It's like up there with like Schitt's Creek for me. I
Yep.
miss. I loved Modern Family. I feel like it certainly wasn't one of it wasn't the first show to show us a gay relationships. You know, Ellen came out. There were so many that came before, but Modern Family, I think, played on all of those shows and actually did like give back to what came first. And it was just so relatable.
It is,
I miss
you
it.
know,
It was hysterical.
What I really loved about the Lily character in the show is that the show lasted long enough for us to watch
the
them
whole
raising
thing.
her.
right.
And all the things that happen when you're raising a kid
Right.
and especially in a gay household. But, you know, we see lots of movies and series where they get a kid or they already had a teenager when
Right.
the show starts. This one, we got to watch her grow and the challenges they went through raising her because the show lasted long enough for that to happen. I thought it was very cool.
Anytime there are characters on a television show and the surrounding characters or other family members of the characters are just existing in a world where you don't have to come out because it's just
Right.
it
is what it is.
is something I'm always going to watch.
Yeah.
You know,
It's awesome.
That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Gabe Salazar, and let's queer up entertainment. TV legend and gay icon Kim Woodburn dies at 83. Beloved British TV personality and gay icon Kim Woodburn has died at the age of 83 following a short illness. Her representatives shared the news in a statement on Monday, June 16th, saying, quote, "It is with immense sadness that we let you know our beloved Kim Woodburn passed away yesterday following a short illness," end quote. Known as the Queen of Clean, Kim rose to fame co-hosting Channel 4's How Clean Is Your House from 2003 to 2009. Her bold personality and no-nonsense attitude made her a household name and a cherished LGBTQ figure. Kim became an unlikely reality TV sensation from I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here to Celebrity Big Brother in 2017. Her dramatic confrontations and iconic one-liners made her a social media favorite. Her CBB spats with Colleen Nolan and Nicola McLean became legendary, especially among queer fans, who turned them into viral memes still quoted today. She was frequently impersonated by drag queens, including RuPaul's Drag Race stars like Victoria Scone and Vivienne, and even appeared with the Vivienne on Netflix's I Like to Watch UK. Fans and drag artists have flooded social media with tributes calling her legend, diva, and true gay icon. Rest in power, Kim Woodburn. Oh, so sad to see her gone.
Yeah, wow.
One of the first pioneers of reality television, you know, like, but before Dance Moms and everything that's on. She was really the one who kind of made that villain persona. I remember from Big Brother. I remember her on Big Brother. She was incredible.
Honestly, I had never heard of her until
more British icon. Like the Vivian was a massive drag race from the UK, and the Britain's Got Talent, I think that she was on as well, maybe, or America's Got Talent UK. I'm not sure which one it was. I'm not to dip in both areas.
Wouldn't that be UK's Got Talent?
I don't know if there's two separate ones. I don't know if it's titled Britain's or UK. I'm not sure, but I know that they were both very, very large figures, TV-wise, in over there as opposed to here. But Vivian did incredible on Drag Race, and I remember she would always make references to Kim. So
Wow. Well, R.I.P. Kim.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this. Support Queer News Tonight by sharing and subscribing today.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Yavan Robbacher, and let's queer up drag culture. Drag queen Kochina Rude turns Nightlife into a lifeline. Drag queen and activist Kochina Rude did not plan to save a life at a party in 2021, but she did. When someone overdosed, she sprang into action using intranasal naloxone to reverse the effects. That moment changed everything. She says, I realized that my community was not getting the information they needed about how to reverse an overdose. As both a Nightlife star and a trainer with the SF Drug Overdose Prevention and Education Project, Rude decided to bridge that gap. She began handing out naloxone, often known by its brand name Narcan, at her shows, along with quick, simple lessons on how to use it. While teaching up to 500 club goers every weekend isn't easy, Rude keeps it light, fast, and fun. Her work caught the attention of San Francisco officials. In 2023, the city launched the Overdose Prevention in Nightlife campaign, naming Rude as its drag ambassador. The campaign has since distributed nearly 400 doses of naloxone and trained over 1,200 Nightlife attendees. Dylan Rice of the city's Entertainment Commission said, quote, this campaign has helped promote the message that we've got each other's backs, end quote. Beyond the glam, Rude's mission is clear: end the stigma around drug use and keep queer people safe. Do you know, for the first time that I've seen it, y'all tell me if you've seen it somewhere else, there were at least 4 booths at our Stonewall Pride Fest in Wilton Manors this past Saturday, distributing Narcan so that for the same reason, you know, so that you can save someone's life if you're in a nightclub or in a situation with somebody who's done drugs. And fentanyl is so dangerous.
Yeah, when
I have some in my house.
Yeah, they have it at the pub. They'll have it in little they'll have little condom carriers and the Narcan
It's
that you can
unfortunately
take.
that the opioid crisis and epidemic is so bad that we all need to know how to save somebody, because that stuff is so dangerous, and sometimes you don't even know that's what you're taking.
But how smart to like do it.
Oh,
there.
that's amazing.
Like, I mean, to be like to capitalize on the fact that you're in this major nightclub, you've got everyone quite literally at your fingertips, and you're using that time to not only make money during your drag performance, but to educate. I mean, we need more
leaders
like
and
that.
I think, like she said, that, you know, the bottom line is we sweep these things under the rug because there's such a huge stigma about people using illegal drugs or being addicted. And so, you know, what's the alternative here? In these situations in the nightclubs, people die because you don't get them help quickly enough.
In Miami,
if you hear in Wilton Manors,
There's
that
no
happened
stigma
too.
about having a drug problem. It's like any other illness.
Yeah, in Miami, they've been passing out the Narcan for years.
Yeah.
Good.
At Pride events, at any really large gay events like Winter Party and stuff like that, they always have Narcan.
I could be
there.
mistaken, but I think this is the first time I've seen it in Wilton Manors like that out on the street. What do you?
I've seen it out, and I know I've got several friends, and we've had conversations. If I go out, I always have some in my car.
Really?
I don't keep it in my car all the time because of this heat down here.
Right.
But if I'm going out to the clubs at night,
you'll take some.
I'll have some in my car, and there's other friends I know that do the same thing.
I think they've made it more aware because we have lost. This year.
Anybody can be a hero if you've got that Narcan on you.
And it can't hurt them if they don't need it. If
Yes.
for some reason, it's not gonna.
That's right. It's not
Right.
gonna. It's not gonna offset anything
Right.
if it's not.
Yeah,
Right.
It's not like that scene in Pulp Fiction where they stab the hypodermic needle in
We
the
can all
chest.
Oh, I
see
have
it
to
when
go
she
home
did
and
that,
watch
didn't
Pulp
we?
Fiction. I loved that.
This is so much easier, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
everybody should
Yeah.
have some
That's
on
fantastic.
hand.
Thank you, Kochina Rude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love your
with
name,
that, with
love
that
your
rude
mission.
name, Kochina. We love you. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Vaughn Biggs, and let's queer up healthcare. New study shows young adults need support to speak up about sexual health. A groundbreaking new study is shedding light on what really matters to young adults when it comes to sexual health, and it starts with talking. Titled Uncovering What Matters to Young Adults, Communicating About Sexual Health and Relationships, the research reveals that open communication is a missing link for many between good health and great relationships. Using surveys with 900 participants and 16 focus groups, researchers found that young adults want and need help having honest conversations with partners about consent, boundaries, STIs, and pleasure. The study says, young adulthood is a transitional period marked by exploration in romantic and sexual relationships, which often occur for the first time during this stage of life. Although young adults are often grouped with adolescents in sexual health research, this age group faces distinct challenges related to communication, relationships, dynamics, and accessing relevant sexual health information. The findings are a wake-up call. In 2022, nearly 50% of all new STIs in the USA were among people ages 15 to 24. Wow. Condom use remains low, and gaps in sex ed, especially for queer youth, are leaving many unprepared. Experts say it's time to meet young adults where they are. Online, messaging should include scripts, real-world examples, and practical tips on navigating relationships of all kinds, casual or committed. As a National Coalition for Sexual Health notes, quote, good sexual health, however, is much more than disease avoidance. It also includes having positive relationships, peace of mind, and consensual, pleasurable sexual experiences, end quote. The study offers a clear roadmap, build skills, shift attitudes, and offer tools young adults need to talk about sex clearly, confidently, and safely. You know, it's very interesting. We've had these conversations about sex and being able to talk to your doctors, being able to talk to your parents, and the conversations need to be centered around queer experiences and must reflect the unique challenges faced by LGBTQ youth. And two, our medical practitioners must be trained and initiate inclusive, non-judgmental conversations that validate diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. And when it comes to the parents, you know, they struggle to find, you know, their footing between support and guidance because they're often unsure if they're being too permissive or too controlling, unaware that their voice is essential to shaping their child's confidence and values. And I think it's just so important. The communication needs to be clear. The education needs to be there. Our parents don't understand necessarily the dynamics of all the identities. And it's not about the action of the sex. It's about just educating them about sex.
And even in general, you know, sex ed is being taken out of schools across the board because, well, it's the parents' job. Well, guess what? The parents aren't doing it.
They don't even teach them to cook anymore, let alone.
Right. I mean, it's a serious issue. Young people are getting STDs because they've never gotten the sex education that they need. And learning it on the street is not healthy and it's not safe.
No.
Listen,
That's what's happening.
Sorry to interrupt. I didn't enjoy that video in sex ed. However, I learned.
You still remember.
You know, and I remember. But I also, you know, something that you said kind of triggered me a little bit, not in a bad way, but it was the Medicare professionals, you know, the doctors that you're going in, because I remember that feeling. Like, I remember being a younger 19-year-old and dating older, this and that. I was out proud. My parents made it very easy for me, thank God, to come out. But you did feel judged, like as a younger
yeah,
gay, knowing
absolutely.
nothing, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, and it wasn't, I distinctly remember times of not sharing the whole news,
Right.
like, because I was like, oh, they're going to think this and that,
Right.
you know, and then, I mean, thankfully never had an STD, but I can see how it's easily being transmitted if you have no knowledge on the subject whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Education is key.
Sure is.
I know for us, we're constantly reached out to as Holy Cross. We have,
Oh, yeah.
actually have a couple of colleges have reached out and want us to come into the classrooms. The professors want us to come in and talk about HIV and STI
Yeah.
because it's not being talked about anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Talking about protection or anything like that, especially with the younger generation that are here today, we are always talking about how they're not great at face-to-face communication.
Right.
Yeah.
So while you were speaking, Vaughn, I was trying to picture two young men or two young women sitting down on the couch and talking about condoms and anything that might be going on before they fall into
right.
bed. And
Right.
I'm going, that is not happening.
Right, exactly.
You know, that it's not happening. They're not even that great at that anyway in the first place. And then they watch movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
What do people do? They start kissing, and the next thing you know, they haven't even broken the kiss. Their clothes are off, and they're already.
Right.
So where was the part where they made sure that they knew who that person was and
Right.
what they're,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Right.
They need to learn from the teachers and not,
Not
you
the
know,
TV.
not Showtime, honey.
Right.
Don't be like the friends I had, the gay men friends I had when I was in my early 20s. That was just pre-AIDS being a known quantity.
Oh,
Yeah.
When I was 18,
Oh, yeah.
19, 20, and that was a
last
whole
century.
different story. Shut up.
It was last century.
Different story, however, that is
Right.
still a
Okay, bye.
LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Launch. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. The 2025 Wilton Manors Stonewall Pride was a bold and bright affair with 100% safety. Wilton Manors came alive on June 14th for the 2025 Stonewall Pride Parade and Street Festival, a powerful celebration of LGBTQ pride, visibility, and community. The event featured a dazzling glow night parade that lit up the night with neon, creativity, and contagious energy. It was cool, it was fun, and it was unforgettable. 50,000 came out to celebrate, cheer, and shine under the South Florida sky. With over 70 parade entries, the procession was a joyful mix of floats, marchers, drag, and community organizations. Thanks to enhanced security systems, the night remained safe for the approximately 50,000 attendees, too. Around 8 p.m., 31-year-old Michael Monheat triggered a metal detector alarm at the East Checkpoint. Security immediately ordered him to stop, but he ignored repeated commands from both security and police. Officers detained him shortly after. A search revealed a loaded firearm and additional magazines in Monheit's possession. He was arrested on the spot and charged with trespassing and carrying a concealed firearm. Authorities say the firearm and magazines were seized as evidence, and Monheit's motives remain under investigation. Wilton Manors Police praised the event's security team and officers for their quick coordination. Stonewall Pride Parade and Street Festival was not just a party. It was a powerful statement of resilience, love, and unity. And thank goodness that the security and the police were there, that they had metal detectors. That is one of my biggest fears of going to a Pride event or a large public gay event and having someone come in and shoot it up.
We didn't even know
so
that this
lucky.
happened at the time.
Right.
But this is the first year that they have tightened security to that degree. The metal detectors did not exist until this year, and
Right.
just
Thank goodness they did.
Yes,
I hope they're
thank-
not going
thank
anywhere.
you.
Right, no.
I wouldn't-
After
No,
this,
definitely
can't
not
imagine
after
it.
this.
I wouldn't mind the enhanced security
Yeah,
on the
there were-
weekends. I wouldn't. I
Good
have
point.
nothing but praise for the Wilton Manors Police Department.
Oh, yeah.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
They did an incredible thing by making it completely unknown.
A lot of
when it was
people
happening. No
complained
one
about
knew.
booth prices or
right,
entry prices,
right.
but there were so many more event staff and security staff and barricades. It was,
Yeah.
there were police from like 4 different
Everywhere.
cities.
It's
Yeah.
true. Wilton,
Yeah.
we had Broward, Miami-Dade were
Lauderhill,
there,
there.
Lauderhill. Yeah,
Even Coral Springs sent police
Wow.
to help out.
Yeah, a lot of Pride events have police from different jurisdictions across South Florida,
Yeah.
but Miami Beach Pride
Yeah.
does not have a fence. It does not have metal detectors that you go
Yeah.
through.
Wow.
It's a free public event.
Yeah.
Anybody can come, and this is really frightening
Yeah.
Yeah.
to
it is.
imagine what could have happened.
Mhm.
But you know, we
have
got to
a
keep
lot
our
of people that complain about ticket prices,
Mm-hmm.
and you
what-
think about it.
and the
That's
booth-
what
so
this
it's paid
is
for
going
security.
for.
Saw exactly.
The
Paying for that
security and the
security.
event staff everywhere. I mean,
Right.
it was,
It was well done.
Did-
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't add bag checks next
they
year.
did.
They did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
Okay.
you weren't really
Yeah.
allowed. I was given a bit of a hard time to walk in with my bag, even though I had an event staff and of the VIV, whatever, Viva, all the VIP
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm calling the parade like this is my underwear and socks. And you know, they were very, very good.
Yeah.
With the persistence. And I want to end on a high note with Pride, just because I will say that this is my first year calling the parade. So to be able to see, I had no idea how many local businesses like really show up for the LGBTQ community in Wilton Manors. I was shocked to see Target. I didn't think that Spirit Airlines.
I know.
You know, so
I was
you
very
know,
happy about
to,
that.
to put all the silliness aside for a night and see those people showing up and showing out in our
Yeah.
parade, which by the way was like a record runtime of I think 75 to 80 minutes or maybe even
great.
less. It was quick, cute, cool, and it was exciting to see the sense of community amongst all of our Wilton Manors family and friends.
Fantastic.
I can't wait till next year. And that, my anchors, is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ and ally community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family and join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Eric Restivo, and on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Cindy Brown, Gabe Salazar, Yavan Robbacher, and Yvonne Biggs, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. to our LGBTQ world. We hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and queer. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.